The Gospel of Luke tells a story about searching for Jesus. Every year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the feast of the Passover. When Jesus was 12 years old, they went up to the feast according to that custom. And after the feast was over, while his parents were returning home, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but they were unaware of it. Thinking he was in their company, they traveled on for a day, and then they began looking for him among their relatives and friends.
When we got down to Homestead, Florida that particular morning, I had never witnessed disaster like I had that day. It just reminded me of films that I'd seen of war battles. There's nothing there, no street signs, and Mike Matty and Kenny and Charlene Mahoney went with us down. And that experience was great because there was people from all over the United States showing up. We went down just 9 days after the Andrew had hit. But the thing that really got me working in the food pantry area, how many semi-loads of food that came in. And you know, there's 9 different kinds of beans. I didn't know that till I was down there separating them.
Well, this was pretty much during Vietnam, and I was doing ag work with peasant farmers. And after a while, it dawned on me, it didn't take too long actually, that these folks needed help. And they were probably not altogether unlike the peasants in Vietnam that we were trying to convince to be pro-American or pro-whatever we wanted them to be. These were peasant farmers with very few resources, very little education. And we were trying to help them in whatever ways we could. And I guess I envisioned that's what being a Christian was all about.
The smile and the thank you that was given to us for being able to supply their needs at that particular time. And another thing that I seen, there's a lot of different denominations down there. The Baptists had a food tent that served over 20,000 meals a day, which to me was just awesome. And other denominations was down there. We was all working together to glorify the Lord.
I guess I envisioned if Jesus were in that situation, what would he be doing? He'd be trying to help. You know, the old admonition of if you give a man a fish, you feed him for one day. If you teach him how to fish, you feed him for longer than that. We can keep feeding them forever. But if they can learn to become more self-sufficient through agriculture, I think that would be very helpful.
We'd been on work camps before, but it was basically just repairing houses. And they had homes. These people had no homes. They had no furniture. They had nothing. It was wiped out. And that, when you're there with those people for 2 weeks, it makes you stop and think what a blessing we have received, what we have back home, but yet we're able to come down and help those in their particular situation.
You realize that things aren't the same everywhere around the world. Things in Mississippi are better than they were in Mexico. Probably things in Mexico were better than they were in Vietnam. But it's the same general way. You just realize that a lot of people are hurting.
Well, it's just another reassurance that as we continue to help, we're blessed. And we've been blessed with health that we can travel and go to these different work camps as time comes up. And my favorite thing was always when I'd come back and they'd ask how you felt, how you got along, and I said, well, I always came home spiritually, physically exhausted, but spiritually full of being able to make someone else's life a little bit easier.
Just help people when and where you can.
Jesus asked, "Why were you searching for me? Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house?" But they did not understand what he was saying to them.